UPTOBER. Let's go.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Market Check, brought to you, as always, guys, by BB. A reminder, of course, that there is no second best daily YouTube live stream to talk about markets. Welcome, guys. I hope we all had a fantastic weekend. Happy Monday. I'm Snorlax. You guys also know me as Tommy. I'm joined by Chef Jackus and Louis Tuesday, who is here with us on a Monday once again. But quite the green candles that we are seeing in the crypto market that kind of started around Asia session last night. I'm looking forward to talking about, of course, breaking down those candles, where we head next, and of course, legacy markets pumping as well. But before we can do that, guys, before we can get into the charts, before we can give you kind of our more granular thoughts, and I always love to say Mondays are some of our best shows because we've been stirring on just information alpha basically all weekend. So this is a great day to smash that like button for us. We will be very appreciative of you doing that, of course, as always. But before we could get started here, if you could just go ahead and do that, so I don't have to ask again later on the stream. But let's go ahead and get into it, guys. Like I said, around Asia session last night, we got a pretty big green dildo from both Bitcoin and ETH, right? Not just a Bitcoin-led rally. We are also seeing ETH move pretty aggressively to the upside, up about 6% on the day. Bitcoin up about 5%. I'm sure we're going to have some interesting discussions about who is going to be our market leader going forward. But of course, it is only a positive to see both assets pumping to this degree. So, if they're both going to go up, then the rest becomes effectively conjecture either way. Of course, risk taking the onus to respond positively after majors are looking to leg up as well. I'm just looking across the board. Of course, self-explanatory. Meme coins look great. Coinbase stock is up about 8 or 9% today. And then, of course, all of our favorite betas have decided to be green today as well. So quite a lot of green pretty much all across the market. That is not just exclusive to crypto, as we also see the same thing in legacy land, where we are starting the week up about 8% or up about 0.5% from what I can see on the S&P, and on the NASDAQ. NVIDIA up 3%. So I would say the picture for risk to start the week has begun very, very favorably. We will continue to break down what happens here throughout the week, guys, but overall a pretty positive start to our Mondays. But I'd love to get y'all's thoughts, not just on what happened this weekend, but of course kind of what you're expecting this week, both in crypto and or equities. Guys, I'd love to know what you're seeing in the market, but also how was your weekend, guys? How was your weekend? We always talk about markets, but how was Louis and Chef Jackus's weekends?
Go on, Louis.
Okay. I was gonna let you go first, Jack, because I feel like you never go first. My weekend was good. I was enjoying myself. I wasn't too locked in on price action over the weekend. Watched some football yesterday, spent some time with some friends I haven't seen in a while. So that was good. Obviously the most important game is tonight, where the Jets are going to play tonight. So I'll be going to that game. I'll be jetting up, see how we do with our new head coach, and see if you can take first place in the division. So believe it or not, Jets haven't had the greatest season start, but our division's wide open. So we could win tonight. We could take that first place spot, and we'll see what happens. But I enjoyed my weekend. I caught some, just some people waffling on Twitter. We had a Sunday pullback, a 2% pullback on Bitcoin and alts across the board. And on a Sunday morning, normally, you should probably fade that. Obviously, we saw some bears taking some victory laps on that move. And this morning, we're seeing what's happening, and that is more upside for Bitcoin and altcoins, right? Yeah. Listen, a trade set up without context is just poop on a stick, basically. Like it doesn't make any sense.
You were sitting on that one this weekend, weren't
Yeah, I thought about that one this morning in the sauna. But go ahead, Jack.
And my weekend was amazing. I was well, first of all, I was on the buttons. I was making final redistribution changes to the portfolios before the big bull market, which we were telling you guys is coming. Obviously, no. I know that lots of people will say like, let's not, say we are there until we are there, and I agree. But at the same time, guys, we tested the month. We had like, first of all, we were telling you the hard time frame takes all the time what is coming, right? We were saying like they will scary first in October, then there is going to be likely the reclaim by the end of it. We are currently live today getting the reclaim of monthly open, October turning into October just as today. And with the price action, with the deviation, what is below the mid-range, sorry, mid-range, the monthly open, it's now set to basically just continue higher. Like we had every single retest, we had every single sweep. I had no idea what the bears were baffling about with the higher time frame final sweep. Like we got that in August, right? The only sweeps allowed were lower time frame ones. So we had that. It played out. Now we've reclaimed the monthly open. I really don't think there is room to be bearish unless you are hopeful, right? Like I think the data is quite clearly there. Anyway, so I was on the buttons making the final changes to the before the big parabola, before the big bull market, before like the risk really kicks on, because what we've seen so far hasn't been it, right? This is not why we are in crypto, not for the little moves. We are here for the big gains, right? Because it's supposed to be the disruptive industry, the emerging ones, where the returns make up for the risk associated with it. Otherwise, we could be just in stocks, right? Which we probably are. I definitely am, but I still want to chase the outsized returns. So I was making these changes. That's how I started. Then I obviously went on a trip with my girlfriend. We drove around Czech, beautiful Czech Republic. Had some proper Czech beers, as you know me. Tasted very well, local breweries. Then we are making some plans for our planned vacation in November, and setting up, booking hotels and so on, and enjoying our days together, basically, chilling from the market and just letting it play out. And here we are.
Well, I love to hear that you guys had such a great weekend and very different weekends. For me, I basically just watched football. I'd love to pretend that I hand egg Jackus to you. But
Hand egg, all right.
That's pretty much how I spend my weekends in the fall.
I was thinking what football you were talking about.
I had to clarify. I knew I would have to, but Louis, I see you've got the IWM chart pulled up. We can go ahead and start with equities today and then gravitate over towards altcoins and crypto. I'm sure this chart, should it break higher, would have positive implications for crypto and especially altcoins. But yeah, are you kind of looking at this to melt up higher here over the next few weeks?
Yeah, we are basically at that time where we start to see Russell low cap stocks start to drift higher and re-enter price discovery. Believe it or not, this is I have this kind of these zones mapped out: your yellow to your green, your bull chop to your expansion and price discovery, right? But even back here, right, it's like literally October, November of 2020, right? Literally exactly similar timing as well, which is pretty crazy. Where October, leading October of a halving year, of an election year, you see that part of the market cycle where the low cap stocks and your high risk assets start to go parabolic. And like Max has said previously, you never usually have Bitcoin in price discovery without the IWM or the Russell in price discovery, right? So we are coming up into that point where, we're starting to see, Russell has been basically bull chopping for the last couple months, gearing up for a move, which I think is going to be similar to what we saw back here, just kind of bull chopping, right under, your old all-time high. I
thought you were glitching out for a second.
I just glitched. That was a glitch.
You had the Wi-Fi I had on Friday.
Yeah, except it's in my brain. It's like a wiring problem. But yeah, and basically what we saw was just a gap up from this bull chop and right into price discovery. So I'm expecting a similar move here. And if you even break it down lower, this is a nice, what I would call an ascending triangle at this point, because it's been in multiple months, right? Where it's like you have ascending price, like rising lows, like continuous higher lows, but you have a flat top, right? And you have price constantly pressing those highs until eventually you break that high. But when you break that high, it's not like a little dribble higher. It's a violent move to the upside, confluent with basically your mid-range of your 2021 all-time high range for IWM. We're pressing up into that mid-range as well. So back above this mid-range, there's a lot of supply here. Back above this mid-range, this dotted line you see here, there's not much market structure or supply really stopping us from going vertical here. So, that's what I believe this is gearing up for. And historically, we've seen that October, November, leading into or coming out of a halving year and going into an election season. And I know it seems so simple, like, oh, wow, like it did that before, it's going to do it again. Well, yeah, it is that simple. And I think it's going to happen. And it's somehow people find ways to mess that up.
And a hush fell over the crowd.
Just there was the mic drop and silence.
Yeah,
higher.
that's it. Just stare. Just staring to the camera. Yeah, no, I mean, this looks great. It's crazy how similar they look too, right? Like,
and I think it looks a lot like some of these meme coins as well, right? Like you look at some of these large cap meme coins, like Pepe, for example, grinding higher. Maybe IWM is a little bit higher up in its current structure, but overall, Pepe trying to grind higher, it's getting closer to a point where it's running out of supply to grind higher into.
Louis, I would have you actually looking at this chart. Can you put BlackRock chart down to it?
what
To
do you
the
mean?
Russell one?
Like
Like
underneath?
BlackRock stock. Yeah, underneath. And by the way, I'll discuss two topics. First, thanks guys for the concern. My leg is not okay yet, but it's getting better. It's not amputated, as Max was saying, nor is it bionic leg just yet. In a few years, maybe, but so far, the superior genes still, working well. So recovering. Thanks for asking. And second, people keep asking me on credible stake on 49K call. So it seems that the crypto scene simply needs some star or some voice for the bears, right? It seems that Credible right now took that spot. I actually haven't seen his analysis to a big degree. I think anyone can have their opinions. I hope it's backed by lots of data why he thinks so. But according to my data, right, I am focusing mainly on my analysis, on the stuff I learned over the years, which I know that works long term. And I cannot get influenced by others, which doesn't mean I do not look at stuff, but I don't reconsider, right? But I gave you guys lots of information, so much reasoning with facts, why I think it cannot happen, why we cannot have a 49K drop, because at that point we would be entering a new bear market, right? So in that regard, it simply cannot go that low. We had the hard time frame final sweep in August. It took lots of time since then. We could have just as easily straight up shoot up since August. Did not happen. We prolonged the range, but the narrative is still the same since then. So I respect anyone thinking, otherwise, but my take is that we cannot have drop down, and we are beginning to send from here.
I'm hearing some
Yeah, me too. Probably Tommy. Don't know, but yeah. And now cert to the to this chart. Yeah, I thought so, man. I was like looking at the Russell, and I was thinking, dude, that looks so much like the BlackRock stock.
That's identical.
Bruh.
That's a great find. That's a great find, and that's exactly it's exactly what we're doing on the Russell. We're just delayed a little bit, right? The Russell seems like it's lagging, but even down to like the local pattern. Yeah, no, that looks identical. That's a great find there.
By the way, I think what's really going on, right? So we have to think as end of 2021, beginning 2022 is when the bear market began for all assets. Didn't matter if it was, crypto. It didn't matter if it was stocks, high cap stocks, if it was silver, if it was gold, oil, whatever. Everything began to trend down beginning of 2022. The only thing that was going up was DXY, right? Things bottomed 2022. Obviously, we had like FTX deviation in crypto and so on, but things bottomed pretty much September, October 2022. What happened since then is that risk began to fly. And the absolute first mover of everything was NVIDIA, undoubtedly. And I think what NVIDIA is doing is telling us where stuff wants to go. What we then saw was like obviously other stocks, right? Even SPX is now significantly above its. Maybe you can put SPX there underneath as well, Louis, just quickly. But SPX is also above its 2021 highs to a larger degree, right? So SPX has been front running this one as well. Obviously, the BlackRock stock and so forth. So what I think is doing here or happening is that every single asset is now playing the catch-up game, more or less, with this higher time frame fractal. And while SPX is already far above, I think that BlackRock and Russell and basically low-cap stocks and also the high-risk play, which is crypto, is just catching up now. And while the majors may now stop, I think the high risk, that's where the liquidity is now flowing into. And it really begins with Russell above all-time highs, with Bitcoin starting to go parabolic as well, and ETH even going up, and obviously so forth and so forth. So I think it's just a big world assets catch-up play, what we are seeing right now here with all these charts.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's, if risk is breaking higher here, I don't even think that's just things like the IWM and obviously altcoins and crypto. I mean, you mentioned Bitcoin, Jackus, and I think that is a theme in equity markets as well. I look at a lot of the Mag 7 stocks, and they look pretty good. I have to say, right? Like Nvidia, like you said, nearing price discovery once again. Apple, I think, trading near the all-time highs. I am personally assuming that Tesla will probably eat up this dip that it's had here over the last few sessions and probably bid as well. So, I think there's a case for all of this to be bidding at once, right? In a way that we haven't seen quite yet in this cycle. It's kind of funny because I feel like we talked about this breadth expansion, where you have the majors pumping as well as the altcoins throughout this cycle, but we haven't quite seen it I do think the conditions are probably more favorable right now, especially after the election, than they have been all year.
Yep.
Indeed. And by the way, guys, Mr. Trump, whatever you think of him, right, is definitely, more pro crypto than the other party. Trump is leading by 10% right now. Obviously, that can change, but and I do not think it matters that much who wins, in terms of up, that we're gonna go up. But I think that if Trump is elected, I think the market will view it as more up, right? So that's another kind of good piece of confluence. Not that I would base my analysis purely on that, but I think it's again nice bit of confluence.
Yeah, it just goes back to what I was saying earlier. The context behind a trade is extremely important. Without the context, it's your trade thesis is pretty much useless, especially on a higher time frame. What's the context? The context is cycle history, where we are in a macro cycle, whether it's markets as a whole, things following the S&P, the Nasdaq, and then you have your Russell, and the cash flow trickling down the risk curve. As far as a whole market cycle. Then you also have Bitcoin's market cycle, right? It's 4-year cycle. It's been very cyclical. It's a cyclical asset with its happenings baked into the price, right? Not baked in, but they're not baked in. So every year, every 4 years that halving comes, we see similar price action, right? We have a halving, price pumps up into the halving. We take a couple months consolidating, trading more sideways, boring people. And then, that at year end, at Q4, Q1 of that cycle, which is always an election year as well. It's funny how those line up, right? Then you see that follow-up pump and the 6 to 12 months of basically bullish price action for high-risk assets. So, I mean, you could have a trade set up and the chart in a vacuum, looking at nothing else other than the chart. You could probably be looking for a short setup, over the last couple of days. But if you're just going to look at that in a vacuum and just ignore the context and where we are in a market cycle, it's a recipe to get burned, right? It really is. That's why I always say context to your analysis is 100% important. Anyone can draw lines on a chart, but you got to know where you are in that market cycle to, add confluence to that play, or else you're going to get blown out of the water. Like we see some bears, getting blown out over this weekend, right? So that's what I mean by context for a trade.
Call world. What can we say?
I love picking up on the accent, Louis. Water. But I'm gonna have to stop you. I'm gonna have to stop you because Beyonce. What was it? Beyonce did it better. But seriously, I am gonna have to stop you, Louis, because we have 400 of you watching live and only 140 likes. So we're going to have to get that number to 200 before we continue to cook. And we have been cooking, for the record, guys. It is a Monday. Let's bring our A game, because the coins definitely did, right? I'm looking at my watch list. The coins definitely brought their A game. The comment section and the viewership can as well. But we appreciate you guys, as always. For now, I'm going to stick you guys with the soybeans chart, but we appreciate you.
They're too busy calling me Kalilu in the comments versus hitting the like button. Wait, I got to look this guy up. I don't know who that is. Who's Kalilu? Let's see. Oh, my God, guys. Really? Hold on.
Oh, we're almost there. See, they can hit the like button. They just decide not to.
That's what I look like? Seriously? That's what I look like? Kalilu. Jesus, guys.
What is that? What cartoon is that from?
Kalilu. That's the name of the show, I guess. Yeah, and he has no hair. I think that's what they're getting at. He's a bald baby.
I'll be there in a few years, Louis. So don't worry.
Well, you guys can look at this now until we get the likes up. Just Kalilu and soybeans has been straight down. What's going on with the soy boys? Putting them out of business.
Could have just Euro scalp shorted that thing on basically every stream.
Yeah, literally. Damn, straight down.
You should invert it, Louis.
Yeah.
It's much more bullish.
Oh wow, look at that.
Why does that look like Popcat?
Yeah.
Doesn't it look like the Popcat chart? I'm being
Yeah.
dead serious.
That's crazy.
Oh man. So what you're saying is that soybeans are about to be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, probably.
Good to know. Good to know. Well, this is what we do on Market Check, guys. Sometimes we talk about soybeans. Sometimes we compare them to altcoin charts, but we appreciate you for hitting the like button. We did get a good bit over the 200 like button threshold. With that, I'd like to transition into some altcoins, Louis. Equities are green once again. You know, that's kind of like something that we've just become so accustomed to that, you know, it's just like I'm used to always seeing equities green more often than not. But of course, crypto, we've been waiting. Altcoins have been perking up. We've just kind of been waiting for, I think, ETH and Solana to move off the blocks a little bit more quickly. Bitcoin, obviously, trading much closer to its all-time high. What are you seeing with the altcoin market coming out of the weekend and, of course, ahead of this week?
Well, we're definitely seeing ETH start to wake up. Obviously, putting a meat stick here on the daily. And, you know, that's kind of what we expected, right? Like Bears had multiple tries to try to push us down and sweep this low for the third time. And they just couldn't do it, right? And eventually, things are going to swing the other way and the beach ball underwater is going to pop up, right? And that's what I think ETH is here. And we're seeing that in ETH, and we're seeing that with ETH betas, right? You know, we're seeing the meme coin market start to pop off. First started on Solana, it's making its way over to ETH, I just see liquidity, you know, coming back into this market that literally has had little to no liquidity for the past 6 months. So ETH obviously telling the story here. Solana, I haven't really looked at Solana yet today, but I'm sure that's looking similar, if not better here. And yeah, I mean, ETH really doesn't have, it has some work to do, right? It's been lagging, but it's a couple key levels away before like starting to, you know, its climb back to old all-time highs. So, this is a great start. And what, you expect to see after, a bottoming pattern and consolidation down here where it fails to get pushed lower, tries multiple times, buyers step in, and the price will swing back the other way. So I'm watching for this confluent break here, this local downtrend break, as well as this higher time frame type of wedge downtrend break. Once we get that, that should be enough firepower to get us back inside this macro range, where once we're back inside this range up here, I think ETH is really going to continue its climb higher, back to old all-time highs and higher from that, and back into price discovery like we've seen over the past cycle or two for ETH.
What do you make of ETH Bitcoin here, guys?
Let's take a look.
Because I feel like ETH is very much break the USD highs, probably consolidate near them if we're bullish, and then you probably get a gap up candle kind of through obviously the gap down candle that we had in August. But ETH, the topic of outperformance is, of course, an ever important one in the cryptoverse. We love to talk about whether Sol is outperforming ETH, and of course whether or not ETH is outperforming Bitcoin. And people want to keep saying that ETH Bitcoin doesn't matter this cycle. I don't really agree with that. I think it really does matter when you talk about the dispersion within the altcoin market that you see ETH Bitcoin pumping. I don't really have any thoughts on this chart here, but I do know it would be a very bullish sign for altcoins if it were to break higher.
Yeah, definitely. Like ETH-BTC has always been relevant, and I do not think why it would stop this time around, which doesn't mean that just because ETH-BTC is down, you cannot have outperformers in the meantime. You always had that. But once you see ETH-BTC flying, you will see like the general, market outperformance. Like everything is going to outperform Bitcoin at that point, and usually comes at the final like stage of the cycle, right? We'll see how it goes this time around. I personally am not liking it here locally. I think we are close to the bottom rather than not, but like locally, obviously, not the prettiest price. I think what's more important is just the ETH/USD price. I think ETH/USD is simply going to be dictating the ETH BTC chart, and ETH/USD is currently going up. It has reclaimed monthly open. It's in October now currently as well, and the moment it really starts flipping these levels, and mainly 4K, ETH BTC is going to simplify because of that. Like, you will not have ETH/USD going up and ETH BTC not performing. Again, it's not, for lots of people, because, like, guys, we often talk about Bitcoin and Ether, and it's not like that everyone holds just Bitcoin and Ether, right? In most cases, most people just hold a higher beta, but we discussed those. Well, first of all, because they are the two largest cryptos in existence, and people simply care about them. And second is that they are an index price for the higher beta. So yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know if we make new highs on this, but I don't think we need to, right? Like, you could see from 2017 to 2021, we're making less and less parabolic moves to the upside on this pair. But that just means, ETH and Bitcoin are trading more similarly, right? Like, ETH is becoming more and more similar to a Bitcoin. So, I mean, yes, like, normally this is a very good indicator for when, expect, your altcoin type season, right? But I don't think we need a massive move like this for ETH and alts to have a crazy run, right? ETH will have its run. Is it going to do the runs that it did here and here? Absolutely not. It's becoming a larger and larger asset, likely, coming with less and less gains as time goes on. But even a move like this for ETH BTC, whether this is the bottom or not, something like that, and then back to a more sideways move like we saw here, would be enough to, I think, to send ETH to like 10, 15K, and ETH betas and other altcoins just to, do their thing and go, and just, dish up massive gains. So, but I think we're going to continue to see this trade more and more, sideways, and more or less just more of like an oscillator than like a massive, run like this that people are waiting for. I don't think they're going to get stuff like we've seen here.
That's the interesting thing to me, right? Like, we kind of saw, because it's a topic of conversation about majors appreciating that I've been touching on X, and then I talked about it a little bit on Discord this morning, that I think, we overestimate the importance of onboarding retail liquidity and what that will do to altcoin prices, and we underestimate the importance of majors pumping a significant percentage, because people denominate in majors, as we know in crypto. So like, you're holding Bitcoin, ETH, Solana. In 2021, we saw with majors, Bitcoin went up about 600 or 700% in the span of, probably a month and a half. And everybody who was an ancient Bitcoin whale was just that much wealthier, and vice versa for ETH and, BNB as well is another great example. So that's kind of something that I'm waiting for, right? Like, what are the expectations of ETH USD in this cycle? Because you have one camp that's diminishing returns, and I think you have the other camp that's super cycle. And the best way to drum up long-term liquidity for altcoins, and obviously beta to those majors, is by pumping those majors significantly higher. So, Bitcoin had the Bitcoin ETF catalyst last October. That's really what spurred the market higher. Does ETH have a narrative kind of coming up in the pipeline? I don't know. But I do know that we want to see majors continue to trade higher for that wealth effect bleed over into crypto.
Yeah. I mean, I don't have much, like, because, like, realistically, I don't hold ETH, right? I'm holding ETH beta. So, like, I haven't even really dove deep into like what my target is for ETH. I mean, obviously, I think we break the old all-time high. That I think that's a given. But more or less where we go from there, I don't know. Maybe we got a double, maybe we see like a 3 to 4x. I think 10 to 15K is a reasonable spot. but it's like I say 3618 on a linear scale. You're up to 15K. I don't see us doing much more than that, but a move to 10 to 15K from 2600 where we stand now, like that's going to be like massive for altcoins and ETH betas, which we're mostly in. So yeah, I mean, I think we definitely re-enter price discovery for ETH, but I think it's going to be like a Bitcoin thing where it's a diminishing returns as time goes on, as this becomes a larger and larger asset. And I don't think it really needs like a narrative, right? I feel like it's lasted the test of time, and it has its roots, its boots dug in the infrastructure of the crypto markets. Everyone kind of uses ETH for something, whether they're on Sol or not. Everyone uses ETH, and I think that's going to continue, especially the institutions, because like I feel like institutions are looking at Sol, but they're still just getting involved in ETH now. I feel like you know what I mean. I feel like they're joining crypto. They're finally getting into ETH past the Bitcoin, and I feel like that's why. As well as Base. Base chain I think is extremely bullish for ETH. I think that's a bullish catalyst, because that's gonna, when Coinbase, when all the people hear that Bitcoin's breaking all-time highs and is at like 70, 80K, they're gonna hop on their Coinbase apps, and Coinbase and be like, here, check out Base chain, right? And they're gonna be onboarding thousands of investors onto ETH chain through Base without them even knowing it, really. So I think that's a huge bullish catalyst for ETH as well, is Base chain, and why I think money will stay there. But some money will leave. You have other chains, right? You got Sol, you got Sui, everyone's, all these different chains are starting to launch meme coins. But I think there is still a place for ETH in this market for sure, at least for this cycle.
Some people get very upset when we mention Base chain in the comments. I'm sure you've noticed, Louis.
I have.
Anytime I mention Base, I'm like, whoa. I'm this is all I'm saying about Base that's positive. So I kind of think not that you should allocate like super heavily to Base just yet. I mean, for me, I know some people are maybe more in those trenches than me. I'm pretty selective about what I allocate to on Base, but if you believe in something on Base, the sentiment is currently pretty low. But we did get a super chat, by the way, for a coin on Base, Louis. I know that's kind of more your specialty.
Well, we got a couple. Let's run through.
Yeah, we do have a few super chats. Let's get to the first one, which is talking about Based Pepe. They wanted to see it.
Okay, let's take a look. Based Pepe. Alrighty, let's take a
Based
look.
Pepe on Base.
On Base. Yes. This is Pepe, but based. All right, guys. Yeah, I mean, look at this is what I've talked about this in the Discord. If you're not in the Discord, you got to get in there, because I'm able to give you more updates, basically all days of the week, any time of the day. And that's a paid for service. So, all my time and energy is going to go there. So if you want to get in the Discord, use code Louis9, get in there for 10% off for life. There's a plug. Maybe someone could throw that up in the caption there. But I've talked about a scenario where, this was something that's running before even Sol Chain, Sol Meme started coming back to life. We've been basically running since, beginning of August. So we had 2 months of upward price action when literally the rest of the market was pretty much sideways. So you could say even that Base Pepe was a leader coming off the lows of the market, especially for meme coins. And I did see a scenario, coming into the 1618, had a massive run, for consolidation, right? And you see, a lot of stuff popping off on Sol. I guarantee you people are taking profits, sending money from ETH over to Sol, chasing all those gains, which is fine because Sol Chain's been popping off. People have been making money hand over fist in our Discord. Wobby's been killing it. Will's been killing it. Everyone in our Discord's been killing it in the trenches. But I did point out a scenario where, if we didn't break this old all-time high quickly, I did put a scenario where we could have a larger consolidation at hand here, and which is what we're seeing, right? We're making lower highs, consolidating into previous support, old all-time highs, right? Coming into demand after a massive run, consolidating into it before probably continuing to the upside here. So that major consolidation is taking place. If we do continue to have a bullish backdrop, with an overall bullish crypto market, this should probably exit this consolidation sooner rather than later. Because when, things are bullish, these consolidations happen quicker and quicker, and crypto starts to really move like a volatile asset class. So we did get that consolidation, but we're holding up where we need to hold, right? Like today, we're bleeding into these levels. It looked as if we were going to lose this structure, and then bang, you have an 18% candle to the upside at our wedge low, at our demand. If you look to the left of the chart, so I mean, this is looking great. This is what price does. It's not always straight up in a straight line. I know if you're on Twitter or if you're in other chats or whatever, you're just seeing pictures of all these charts just going straight up in a straight line. The thing is though about those charts, the fast they go up without making any market structure, when they're just going up, 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 the faster they fall, guys. They'll have no market structure to retest on the way down, and it's just going to dump as quick as they went up. Not hating on anything. I'm just saying that's just how price works, right? So because we are making market structure in this area, let's say we do start to break out in old all-time highs, and let's say a market-wide dump happens, we have tons of market structure here now to come back to and act as support, versus if this was just like this, straight line up, we're going to come back down, all the way back down like that, because there's nothing there to support it, right? So that's how market structure works. But I'm really liking what I'm seeing, especially today. We're getting a nice push up. It looks like we're up now 20% on the day, acting exactly as, a beta play to either Brett's or Pepe. Brett lagging a bit lately. So it looks as if it's following more of Pepe's, route as well. So base Pepe looking good. And if you stuck around and held on during this consolidation, you're likely going to be able to reap the rewards from that. So congrats if you held on, and congrats if you got in on early. That we've been calling it back. I think I called in the Discord around like $300,000 market cap. So anywhere up in this upper end of this consolidation, anywhere up in this area, we're up 25, 30x on that call, all the way up to a 45x to the all-time highs. So congrats. I'm a lot of our guys are in it. And I think this continues to be an outperformer once we see this consolidation, finish up here.
Great stuff, Louis. I know we have clearly have quite a few people who are on base and in this coin in the comments. I'll go to the next super chat, which is from an unsurprising source, To the Moon. Thank you so much once again for another super chat, brother. I didn't even know it was a holiday until you said that. I guess it's a bank holiday.
It's Columbus Day, aka Indigenous Peoples Day now.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So I think
no, I mean, I literally didn't even know that it was a holiday today. I mean, I got up ready for work just like any other day. The morning call was on. The New York Stock Exchange is open, so I'm like, well, it's game time.
Yep,
it's game time. And then lastly, we do have one last super chat. Thank you, Fungi. You guys are kicking butt with the super chats today.
Oh wow, $50. Thank you. Hey Louis, wondering if you can educate Jackus, Snorlax, and the rest of BB community on your base Pepe targets, the reminder of UPTOBER and beyond. Oh, they're well informed. They're well informed, whether they like it or not. It's okay. But thank you for the super chat. That means a lot. Appreciate
People
it.
are really stepping up the game with the super chats, aren't they?
The wealth effect, Jackus. The wealth
effect. Community is getting rich. It is what it is. Also, the signs of early bull market, though. People are making money. People are spending money. Loving it. Loving the vibes, of less frustrated market. Let's put it that way. We know how the market has been since August, so good stuff. By the way, there was a question regarding. Wait, let me find it. But I think there was a good question regarding meme supercycle. It was on me and Tommy, but I suppose any of you can discuss that. Who wants to start? If you guys want to.
I don't have any knowledge on a meme super cycle. I'm just bidding.
I'm just bidding.
No, I
If
mean,
it happens,
So-
great.
we
Max-
talked about it a lot last week.
Yeah. Yeah.
This idea that liquidity is just going to increasingly gravitate towards storages of value, right? Non-sovereign storages of value. That's the key word in this, because that's what crypto is. It's not state-owned money. It is not quite decentralized in every realm, but it is not state-owned. It is non-sovereign. And that's why I think the meme coin super cycle is so bullish. Is it's more or less the the vehicles of value that people are going to speculate on, if not try to store wealth in something like Bitcoin. So there's kind of like this inevitable end game to me that altcoins are only meme coins, which is, I don't know. We're gonna have to see how that plays out throughout the cycle. But I will say, I would like to see majors break higher here. As much as I love meme coins and how much they're performing already, I would like to see majors break higher here to take the ceilings off of some of these large cap memes, like a Pepe, like a Whiff, like a Popcat. Because in the same way that I kind of talked about the wealth effect for Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana in the last cycle, I really do think that so many people are holding those large cap meme coins almost in the same way as an L1, that there will be a large wealth effect for large cap meme coins going higher. So I would add that to kind of my thesis. But like I said, we did touch on it a lot with last week's streams. I think it was on Monday and Wednesday.
Yeah. So my take on the meme coin super cycle is that I do think to some degree, or maybe even a big degree, it's real. But we saw, like, Doge has been with us since like 2014, I think. Maybe 13, not exactly sure, but a long time, right? But in the past cycle, that's when it really got bit. And that basically marked the beginning of the meme coin craze that we see today. It was obviously pumped by Elon, but people saw that like that was it, right? And meme coins are dead since. We saw a few other memes getting launched in the past cycle at the very late stages, which was Ship and Floki, and obviously a few others, but it got bit too. It got then destroyed in the bear market. And so where the market has gravitated, and I think it was like the first impulse of what of things to come this cycle. So what is happening right now is that obviously we got an insane meme coin dilution, and basically the whole market is kind of like memes. Like everybody pretty much agreed upon that, hey, let's move to memes and let's just bid those, because why, right? Like people have been fed up with the fake promises of crypto projects, right? Like if you think about it, everyone heard like, hey, buy Atom, right? Great fundamental project, and maybe it was, but the thing is, it never really delivered on price. And people, as we can say investors, most of it's just people aping, right? Because it has a nice name or so, but whatever it is, it never delivered. People did not use it. People did not. It did not really produce the results it was promised to. So this cycle, people were kind of like, "Hey, if I am to, if it's all a scam, nothing is delivering anything, right? Except maybe stablecoins, then I just as well might." And not to mention, by the way, that lots of these coins are pre-sold to VCs who just dumped on retail, right? So retail got just bored of it, decided it's time to just call the bullshit on it and go full memes. And that's where we are today. And lots of people are thinking like, hey, this this cannot continue forever. everyone's into memes now, it's must stop. But I think what people are forgetting is that it's just our bubble. And when you live in a bubble, you don't see it, right? It's like your eco bubble of the people you communicate with. So if I look like at Tommy, if I look at Louis, sure, they are in memes. But if you look at the average normie, they still did not bought into this meme coin narrative. And so I think that the big craze is still yet to come. I think this cycle we will really see memes getting bid to absurd valuations, and everyone will question everything. And I think it kind of probably dies to some degree in the next one, right? Where lots of it will behave like complete scam coins we saw in the prior bear market. Lots of it will just get sold off later on. Maybe few will survive. I think the value or like real projects will actually rise from that in the next one. But for this one, I think this is where everyone is going just full ape mode. Nothing really matters. Let's just bait all of this and fuck you VCs, kind of like this mentality. So I think this is happening. I think that Max thesis is that we will see like the top of the cycle whenever we see like 80 memes out of 100 on top coin market cap, right? Like whenever out of the 100 coins and on coin market cap are memes, whenever 80 of them is memes, is probably the top of the cycle. I do not know to what extent it gets, but I know that there is lots of room for the upside still. Do I like it? Not personally. All right, I'll be completely honest. I was thinking about this lately. I joined crypto not like every one of us wants to make money, right? But I joined crypto because of Bitcoin, what it represented. I love that idea. I still do, but it is kind of dead to some degree, that idea. Well, not entirely, but like it has faded to a big degree, right? And people love investing because you are providing like real value to the world, right? Like you are handing your money to real companies if you're investing in stocks, and then they produce value which you are rewarded for with the price appreciation as well. So like it gives you not just like price appreciation, which we all want, but at the same time it gives you a fundamental reasoning behind it, which I understand doesn't matter to lots of people, but sooner or later it will start to matter to people. If it's your first cycle, you obviously do not care about this, right? And by the way, I'm not like blaming anyone who just wants to buy something and sell it for thousands of percent higher, because we live in a completely fucked art world of fiat currencies and they ruined everything. So this is like the people's like the way people are trying to escape the matrix. I totally get that, but I'm just trying to say that like I'm not finding the value personally as much in it, because I've been in the in the space for a while, and like just buying a coin to dump later on onto someone, which, let's not pretend ourselves, is what is going to happen, right? Like you are trying to create a community around your coin, but essentially you'll be dumping on someone else's head. Versus if you are investing into a stock, it's not you dumping on someone else's head, right? It's different because you're providing the value for the company who has earnings, and it creates something that it's entirely different. So again, I'm like not trying to, and I hope people don't view it that way, that I would be trying to put down some people who are just into memes because of price appreciation, because as I said, like the world is fucked. But I think this is going to I think this gamble, right, is going to get much bigger before it gets essentially faded. And I think it will probably change in the next one, where I do think still, or I'm hopeful that crypto is going to produce some real value. And speaking of real value, we discussed few. Obviously, Tommy keeps mentioning the, international cross-border store of value of everything digitalized.
Talking about Bitcoin, not ETH, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, I had to throw that in there. Keep cooking, Jackus.
No worries. Obviously, we have the stable coins, we have the poly market. I love, for example, what crypto is serving on poly or doing on poly market, because people love betting, but everyone's getting absolutely massacred on the way betting sites are, basically just recting you over, basically like VCs, right? Like VCs and shitcoins, like the same way that the betting sites are recting you over, whether that's unfavorable courses on the games, or whether that's once you start winning, they don't allow you to do so. So poly market is way more fair in all regards. I love that crypto is bringing this solution, but I think there is more to it. I think if there is one sector to produce something, it's definitely AI. AI is a huge effectivity growth to me in the future in TradFi. And I think that, shared worldwide computing power is something that makes sense to me. Obviously, I'm not a technician. I do not see like which chain exactly is going to do better than the other, right? That's not my expertise. But I think that the general idea of a shared computing power for something like AI does make big sense to me. And I think that could be one of the big sector. And what I know from the past is that you definitely do not want to limit yourself to just one sector in anything, or just one asset class. You want to be diversified in that regard. And that's kind of the way I'm playing it this cycle. Anyways, I overcooked. Sorry, guys. Passing the mic to you.
You're right, though, Jackus. I think the skepticism around meme coins isn't entirely just based on, okay, absurd asset is pumping, I'm fundamentally opposed to this. I think obviously the meme coin super cycle is as big as it is. And it's funny that people say believe in something so often when they talk about the meme coin super cycle, because the idea is kind of based on nihilism, right? To a large degree, you don't think that anything in the space that we're building matters, whether that is because you think you were lied to or whatever it is. But thinking that nothing matters in the space outside of literally just number go up is, it is more or less a form of financial nihilism. So I do understand why people reject that aspect of it. And I don't think that people who are all in meme coins should take it the wrong way. It doesn't necessarily mean they don't want to play meme coins because, they're hating on your bag, or that they think that it won't go up a lot as far as an ROI standpoint. They might just be opposed to, they're rejecting the nihilism that nothing matters. And I do appreciate that to some extent.
True.
But Louis, I see you got Doge for us. We were cooking on that last week. It looks to me like it's ready for a much larger constructive uptrend on a higher time frame, right?
Yeah.
Yes, I fixed my internet today. You're absolutely right. That was a one-time thing. That was a one-time thing. We lost Louis. Louis's internet might have rugged him.
It seems like. Maybe you want to take the chart, Tommy, there? Cook us something?
I don't have any charts to really share today, but I mean, we can look at, what are we at with the like button?
That's good question. For nearly 500 people watching, better be like 300 likes.
We are not at 300 yet, Jackus.
Where are we?
We're at 286.
All right, that's close enough. Decent. I suppose if not me. Listen, I've cooked like a lot in the past week, and I think I just cooked, right? Like I do not need a chart to cook. I think that's all. All tech. I know that people love my charts, but
I don't think anybody really wants my charts, so I don't ever hold it to them. Or hold them.
I do want your charts. I do want them, Tommy. I do want them.
Well, it's like I said, TradingView kind of deleted all my stuff, so I'm just
Well,
looking.
in that case, that's the perfect time to start cooking, because you can redeploy your lines on the charts.
Yeah, I can do some cooking. Why not? I'm gonna pull a me, Louis. Are
Yeah,
you
sorry about
prepared
that.
for that?
I had some baby screaming in the background, and I think you guys wanted to hear that, so to cut myself off for a second.
I'm about to full stack steal this chart.
Full stack G.
All right, guys. Let's cook. Let's cook. I will do chart requests if you guys have them, but I really would prefer to avoid, like, please don't show me your 20, 25 million market cap coin unless the ticker is my bags. And we can talk about
Guys,
that.
one thing to say something we agreed upon. We will not be, especially as like we head into a bull market. We will not be sharing sub 50 million market cap coins due to the reasons. We do not want to hurt anyone, because someone can shill it. And they would get. Or like we would show it, right? People would buy based upon it straight away, and it could hurt them. So we decided not to share sub 50 million coins on the stream. So if you see someone asking about this, please, community in the chat, explain to them that we are not doing that.
Thank you, Jack.
We will.
Jack is absolutely
Tell
right.
me,
With
we
great
will
power
need-
comes great responsibility.
Very true. We will need the community support as we grow, because there is no, like, I cannot keep up with the chat at all, right? It's just so hard. Like, we will miss questions. If people want their comment to be seen, they need to super chat. We will need help from the people to moderate the chat as well. It's just how it goes when you start growing bigger, and we certainly are, especially as we head into the bull market. Like, things will get crazy.
All right, guys, let's look at the tickers.
Let's look at MOG.
Oh, I saw Mog in there. I mean, Pepe and Mog kind of look fairly similar, right? I've kind of likened this Pepe structure here to what we've seen with something like Tesla, right? Like right here. That's why I kind of think these large cap meme coins are kind of trading more like indexed than they are shit coins anymore. And if that's the case, I mean, I'm pretty bullish on the Mag 7 here locally. If they can get VIX futures below like 18, I think they're going to send the S&P. But yeah, I think Mag 7 will be a huge beneficiary of that. Pepe, to me, looks very similar to Tesla, at least out of that structure. So that's something that I'm paying attention to. They'll probably trade somewhat correlated. Mog looks incredible. Mog looks incredible, but I will say, like, there is no coin that sucks to buy the top on more than Mog. I never chase Mog because I've bought the top of it. I think like it was here. At the time, it was the top of it, but it just loves these super drawn out pullbacks. Eventually, this will go. I mean, this is pretty clearly vertical accumulation. We saw what happened the first time. I don't really know if I think it's going to like 10x with haste, but the chart looks great. And you talk about assets that got bid the strongest kind of off this local dip. I mean, MOG is up almost 60 or 70%.
Tommy, I have a question actually that came to my mind just now. At what point does a meme coin become like too big that it's not favorable to basically bid, right? Because like nobody wants to bid Ship or Flocky nowadays, because like you will not get the returns there, right? So like MOG is getting pretty big too nowadays, and I'm like thinking, why would I bid MOG if I could do what everyone's doing and just bid the low cap beta, basically, right? Like at what point, like does it even make sense to hold mock at this point? You know
You're
what I
right,
mean?
Jackus, and I was thinking about that very same thing yesterday when I was like really thinking about the wealth effect in crypto and how like when the large caps do well, people get richer, people go down the risk curve, but people are going down the risk curve before they're getting rich in this cycle. So it's a little bit like fundamentally different the way the altcoin market is functioning. I'm not really sure. But it is an interesting question, right? Like we look at something such as PopCat, and I'm going to continue to reference it. I know it's on my watch list, and it's up. It's up about 100% since September 20th, but open interest is up 350%. So, that's not to say that's inherently bearish. It just means there was so much effort that went into getting PopCat just to 1.5 billion in market cap that until we see something like this literally go vertical, start like destroying billions off the market cap in the same way that Pepe did right here. I kind of think these large cap meme coins are more than likely just kind of going to like index higher over time, more or less, maybe not quite that aggressive, but yeah, no, that's kind of how I'm seeing these large cap memes. I saw we got a request for Solana. My view on Sol is
I suppose the value there is to people or entities that have high liquidity, right? Because they usually cannot scale into something that is, sub 100 million market cap. So they are looking for, and I think this is probably where lots of these get bid, right? Like PopCat, like Mock, you name them, that are trading, something between 1 to 4 bill currently, and are likely to head to like, let's say 20 billion, right? Lots of entities that have lots of money, they will be scaling into these because it still does offer them enough returns, while at the same time they have enough liquidity to scale in and scale out at time. So I think this is probably the case for them. But when it comes to retail, I suppose that at certain point when a meme coin gets big enough, I suppose the best is really to scale out. All right, like I don't know, just thinking out loud, basically, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think until you have majors ripping higher, it will be better to respect the ceilings on altcoins, in my opinion, than not. And this is a chart I'd love to see break higher. You want to talk about ceilings on chain? Obviously, Solana has had a lot of meme coins kind of come into that 250, 500 million market cap territory. They've been spat out to my knowledge. I know SPX 6900 got wormholed, and you can also trade it on Solana, but I attribute more of that pump probably to Ethereum native capital rather than Solana. So I think Sol doesn't need to pump. And I think that you can continue having these like on-chain cookers every week or two that hit that 2 to 300, 400 market cap territory, as long as Sol is trading within this nice and tidy range, right? I mean, this is great for distribution into altcoins or distribution into beta. But the Solana chart specifically, I think it's just like ETH in the sense you want to break these highs. You got to break these highs. Because otherwise, I mean, it's less clear on Solana, but for ETH, hasn't made a higher high since basically February, which is kind of crazy. But Solana, I mean, trading closer to the highs, it's trading more in line with Bitcoin. I think the playbook that you're looking for if you're a bull here, one, these wicks should be holding. Higher low, higher low, higher low. And then two, the micro strategy chart looks a lot like Solana, in my opinion, right? Like you're betting on Solana more or less being right in here. And one thing that Max and I talked about last week was it makes sense that MicroStrategy and Solana look so similar because when people have a go-to Bitcoin beta, it's MicroStrategy and it's Solana. And those are like kind of the TradFi and crypto counterparts. Yeah. I see a lot of requests for KeyCat. KeyCat looks great. I'm not going to talk about it on the show, but it looks great. We love to see it, guys. That was a bag I gave up on and then bought back in. Quite pleased with that decision. I think this one is cooling off. I don't know about you guys, but kind of, I forgot whose method it is. I don't know, but a good rule of thumb is generally when you're in a parabola, just draw 3 of these trend lines. When it breaks the most parabolic one, that's usually when the parabola is starting to end. And this to me looks a bit, I mean, I thought this was complacency, but I would say this looks like complacency as well. I guess there is a world where this just keeps getting bid up, but I don't know. I kind of feel like it's at a saturation point. Could it go higher? Yes. Never fade coins with that much volume. But would I bid it here? Absolutely not. At some point, this thing is going to come down a lot. A lot more from here, if I had to guess.
Yeah, that like what I was talking about earlier about like the ones that go straight up, they come down just as quick. There's literally no market structure there to until
mean
like that other local high you had marked out. But yeah,
You mean like this one, Louis? Moodang. This one, yeah. Oh my god, give me the wrong one.
It's always so hard to find the right one on trading.
With the soul coins, man. Yeah, straight up, and we have now drawn back like 60 or 70%. So eventually, SPX 6900 will do something like Moodang.
Yep.
Best believe.
Yeah.
But if you hit the SPX 6900 trade, like kudos. I joke about it. I was in this coin like 3 times in here and didn't make any money on this trade. So if you held through like a year-long range, because that's what this was, kudos. Your patience is to be studied.
As long as you take profits.
Look at Caspa. Yeah, take profits. I should probably look at the full price history chart, but I like to look at the Binance ones. I mean, I think optimistically, you're hoping that this is a range forming. You don't really want it to rotate back down to the bottom, but if majors are going higher here, higher lows, really doesn't look that dissimilar to MOG, does it? You know, we kind of just saw MOG bottom out of a pattern very similar to that. I don't know if this lines up, but I'm going to throw it on the chart. It's a little uglier, but like that's kind of what I would say you're looking for with Caspa. A longer drawn out V. But if you're concerned about outperformance, I don't know that this looks like a chart that's about to rip higher. I would say it would be distribution if you're breaking the low. Big wick, bled back into it, you filled it. That should be the bottom if you're bullish on Caspa. Oh my. You guys love to show me your bags while I'm talking. I'm going to try to keep the tickers I look at pretty large today.
Do I hear a cat?
Goodness. Not my cat.
That could be my son.
All right. Okay. It's so funny. I'm just so used to Tommy's cat.
Yeah. Yeah, I moved downstairs and I still hear him up there. He's throwing a fit.
This looks a lot like a lot of other mid cap ETH beta, like a like this one. Very similar chart. Yeah, I mean this is what you'd want to see from Bobo. I like that reclaim on Trump coin. We love for those of you who have been here long enough, we love these reclaims, man, of the VWAP cloud. Yearly VWAP. I'm just going through the comments, guys. If you just see me like staring catatonically at the screen, that's what I'm doing. All right, I'll do Brett, and then I think that'll be it for my cooking, unless there's like a big ticker y'all want me to look at. I will say I was looking at the Brett chart and I noticed there are some pretty distinct different. This is why you always look at different contracts. And I think I kind of remember Jackus and I talking about this back in like either the beginning of this year or like all the way back in last year. But you can get a lot of alpha from just looking through all of the different ways an asset is traded. Right? Like look at all of the Binance contracts for an asset.
Yeah.
Maybe you find some alpha. Like look at where this listed. Whether you're using this as a breakout point or you're using this as the reclaim level.
Can you put next to it the full chart and see the level on the launch versus the ticker itself?
Yes. They should have this on. No, that's not it. Oh no. We're getting rugged. Oh. Okay, that looks more constructive. Just framing it different ways. This looks like a, all-time high retest. I don't know if I think this will outperform other boys club beta though. It's like you said, Jackus. It's at what point does a meme coin become too big that we hold it specifically for ROI? At what point does a meme coin, other than for purposes of liquidity, become too big? But I like the Binance chart.
Yeah, it's been lagging lately, for sure.
Litecoin. Oh, yeah, I can look at Litecoin. Only because you super chatted it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be looking at Litecoin, I'll be honest. I mean, this is kind of like a crazier XRP chart, isn't it, Jackus? Maybe not as bullish, but
yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is that there is really no trigger for Litecoin, right? Like Litecoin is just what it was before. I think there is still key difference between like all these Dyna coins versus XRP, where XRP just has so many triggers to send it higher. Once again, XRP was trading at the same par on market cap with ETH before the SEC trial case began. I think that XRP will play a catch-up game with that. I think the most major thing for XRP this cycle is something lots of people are not seeing, and that's the launch of its stablecoin. And we know what, just like memes in the prior cycle, with Luna, with what Doge has done, I think Luna has shown the stablecoin narrative in the past cycle, and stablecoins might be something that still gets bit hard this cycle again, to some degree. And if I were to hold a major, I still cannot find a better one to hold than this one, because the launch of RLUSD, which is still in beta, it's not official launch, could change lots of things for it. So I'm just like, when you give me the chart of Litecoin, I see it's the same, but if you or very similar, right? But it doesn't have any triggers for it to send versus XRP does, and that's a major difference. And if you look at coins in the past cycle, right, like Atom did not really look much different from Luna, but Luna got sent big time because of the stablecoin thingy. So
flywheel Ponzi-nomics.
Yeah, Ponzi-nomics. So that's what it is.
I'll do one last super chat and then I'm going to wrap up the stream, guys. Can we check out Turbo and Pepe, please? Let's take a look. Well, I gave my Pepe thoughts. I think it looks a lot like you're trading Tesla. I think as far as like my take profits for Pepe go, it's going to come down to when I think the cycle's over. If I think the cycle's over in like Q1 of next year, I'm probably not going to have a crazy aggressive target on Pepe. But if I think the cycle's over in like 2026, it'll be a lot more aggressive. So I think I'm just being patient with this chart, because right now, as long as it's cooking like this into these highs, eventually you're going to get a candle like that. And then hopefully we can trend rather than index like Bobcat did. But I trust that Wintermute will commit the crime necessary to pump this chart if we get back to these highs. This is the funny part about meme coins, guys, is that we love to talk about how they're community owned, but like this one pumped largely because of Wintermute.
Who?
Wintermute. They're a big like VC and market maker in crypto.
Oh shit.
They bought a ton. They OTC'd a ton of Pepe in this range. So, and then we can look at Turbo. This thing looks like it should be on a Yu-Gi-Oh card. The mascot. The chart looks great. I don't know how I missed this.
That's nice.
Turbo.
I think the market cap of this is like 500, 700 million, right? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. It might be a little lower than that. Chart looks great.
Yeah.
I'm sure Tucker would be drawing this right now. Looking for that 1618.
Yeah.
So maybe something like that. But I have no targets for Turbo. Yeah, like some of these meme coins get big and I'm like, how the hell did you get such a large valuation? Jeez, viewers are asking. Look, we are looking at the coins that are super chatted. If you want, okay, look, I'm just gonna ban this guy.
Yeah.
Terminated.
I'm not even trying to give him attention today.
Yeah.
I'm if he wants to be like that, he can enjoy the ban button. But that concludes today's show, guys. It was a very positive and pleasant show. So I don't want that last moment to detract from that. But either way, we hope that you guys enjoyed it as always. A few housekeeping measures before we can officially wrap up, guys. A reminder, we have launched our official hedge fund, BB Wealth Management. That is a fund primarily focused on digital assets, guys, and it does so in a way that looks to capture their asymmetric history for upside returns, while, of course, balancing the financial risk posed in any financial market. So if being an accredited investor or an LP is something that interests you, we do have more information linked in the description below. If you are interested in having me, Jackus, Louis, Max, or Tucker manage your capital for you, obviously we had a fantastic September. Make sure to check out that button in the description below. Like I said, we also have the BB Academy. Oh man, this guy's back on another account. You guys see?
God.
Well, unfortunately, he's gone too.
Jeez.
Man.
You can ban way quicker than you can make new accounts.
Dude, if he comes back with a third one, I think I'm just gonna let him like that. That's perseverance. I rewarded at that point. Of course, check out the BB Academy as well, guys. I always say the value proposition of the BB Academy. I mean, it's a very high quality course for one, but you are also able to learn from so many different traders with very different trading styles. You talk about a market in crypto that rewards a lot of different styles, a lot of different, right? Like you have people cooking in the trenches right now. Of course, if you are an altcoin trader, you can be trading perps as well. So there are a lot of different ways to tackle this market, and the BB Academy covers them all. Of course, we also have the BB Terminal, guys, which we continue to make a better product every single day. I'm going to be sending out some updates through the Telegram here going forward, so I'm very excited to do that for you all. But yeah, we're very proud of the BB Terminal. We are continuing to roll out features, so keep an eye out for all of that if you've already been testing it out. But yeah, you can also check that out, linked in the description below. Market Check will be back for another episode tomorrow, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the content today. I felt like we started the week off with a bang. I like Mondays. I like Mondays when I work in markets. I didn't like Mondays with what I used to do, but I'm sure a lot of you can relate to kind of the statement that I just said. But yeah, we'll be back for another episode tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, whenever the New York Stock Exchange is open, even when it's a holiday. If the New York Stock Exchange is open, you will see our pretty faces. Or maybe you don't think we're very attractive, but you still tune in at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Either way, guys.
Very attractive. Look
out
at the
Market
guy.
Check for Market Talk as well with King Wabi. He has absolutely crushed the market over the last 2 or 3 weeks, and I'm sure he's looking forward to cooking on spaces for you as well. But that's it from us, guys. We will see you tomorrow, like I said. We hope that you enjoyed the Monday show. And as always, guys, thanks again and stay safe.